Well, hello everyone. This is new for me. We're here in for ESRL Division 2 here in Imola. Usually it's Division 1, but Division 1 is on the second week of a 2-week break, thanks to the quote-unquote race in Zandvoort a couple of weeks ago. The commentator for Division 2, it's been quite a roller coaster. The last 3 weeks, they've had a different person say they can commentate, only for them to pull out right at the last minute. And today's usual commentator has pulled out due to sound issues right at the last minute. I've decided to step in this time. Yeah, hopefully we have a good race, and it will be well and truly worth it. I'm sure it will. I'm just going to check the sound's coming through. Yes, it is good. Okay. So, here we are in Imola. I'm just going to have a look at championship standings. I have no idea. I have not commentated on this division before. So it's Aces versus Kings is the championship leader. He's currently sitting in P9 in the McLaren. He was P10. I don't know why he's gone up. He was gone up to P9, but. Who knows? But he's across the line now. He's going to start another lap, I believe. But he's on top with 61 points. And then second place is Spaled Wrong with 57 points. And third place is Jackalaka with 55 points. So only 6 points in it. It's very, very close for the drivers at the moment. We're obviously only round 4 of 12, but still looking very tight. The constructors, McLaren well ahead of Red Bull and Williams, 24 and 27 points ahead respectively. But Red Bull will be hoping to change that today, as will Williams, of course. But McLaren, Scott and Aces, pretty strong pairing. Scott can be very quick on his day, and obviously Ace is the championship leader. So let's get detail up. Right. So it's currently Lucci on pole with a 14.9, Spaled Wong with a 15.2, a few tenths back, and then Diego Sanchez and Jackalaka has gone up to P4. In the meantime, he was a lot further down the last time I looked, but Aces versus Kings coming to the line is a 16-1 championship leader, quite a way off. Zuba's been disqualified from the session for parking in a dangerous location. That's very unlucky. And ironically, the game is going to put him in an even more dangerous location when putting his car into the retired place on track. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, you can see the game is putting his car in a far more dangerous position than it was in originally. But Breezy up to P4 in the Ferrari. I don't know any of these names. The only people I know are Spaled Wrong, Jackalako, Aces versus Kings, Trugster, RS, Tier, Tebow I've seen before, but I think a while ago. Vans, Bluey, Fuzzwad, Scott. I guess I do know a fair few people here actually then. It's just people at the front that I don't know. Breezy, Diego Sanchez and Lucci I'm not familiar with, so we'll see how it goes. But it looks like it's beginning to rain, so I think that's going to be the end of this qualifying session. So it looks like Lucci is going to be on pole position with Spaled Wrong on the front row. Spaled Wrong just starting a lap now, but I think he's too late to make any improvement because it is now raining, and as his lap continues, that's only going to get worse. And coming up to the Sector 1 line, is he improving by some miracle? No, he's not, and he's invalidated anyway. So, yeah, that's going to be the end of your qualifying session in terms of actual improvements. Scott and Luke's the only ones not to be able to set a lap. Obviously, Zuba getting disqualified as well, and both of them has invalidated their current laps as well. So it's not been a good day at the office for Scott and Luke's, especially Scott in the McLaren, part of the constructors' championship leaders at the moment. Thank you. I think, is that speed, right? I think that's speed. But thank you. I hope so too. It's you know, if there's one league where I will come in at the absolute last minute and help out with a commentary stream, it is going to be ESRL. So hopefully we get a good race to justify it. I'm sure we will. But Scott coming to the end of the final sector, he just wants to set one lap on the slicks, possibly get ahead of Fuzzwad at least in the Ferrari. Yes, it is speed. Well, welcome into the chat. It's a shame you couldn't race in APP today, but Scott coming to the last corner now, down towards the line. He's not going to set the lap. He's not going to even bother to set the lap. It would have been a decent lap, I think. I think it would have at least challenged Bluey for 13th. It certainly wouldn't have been far off, so I'm not sure why he's abandoned that one. He certainly would have been ahead of Fuzzwad. You know, every position counts, but Scott deciding to bail on that one. And yeah, it's definitely raining now. And spelled wrong. That's my pleasure. Thibaut going straight across the chicane. Not sure how legal that is in ESRL. I can't quite remember the rules on that in this league. Good to have you in the chat, Spaled. On the front row, it's not a bad qualifying from yourself at all. See if you can convert it into a win. Obviously, looks like Spaled Wrong won the last race. Got himself well in this championship fight. And he's going to be hoping to make it 2 in a row. Aces continuing on a lap. If he improves, I will be absolutely shocked. There's no way, right? It's raining quite badly now. Everyone's retiring from the session. Aces is the only one on a lap other than Bluey, and Bluey's not improving, and round he goes, going for the classic Bluey move of facing the wrong way on the track. Scott's retired from the session as well. Yeah, a lot of people are retiring. Aces 3/10 down in Sector 1. Unsurprisingly, coming down to Aqua Minerale, it's going to be very difficult not to spin, and he's backed well out. He's going to be heading into the pits and retiring. Hopefully. Well, the session's over now anyways, so Aces... well, I hope he just goes to the line instead of going into the pits, because if he goes into the pits, that'll be another 30 seconds that we have to wait. But that is your qualifying session. Ace is coming around the final corner. Is he going to pit? Yes, he is. Okay, we have to wait a bit longer then, unless he retires in the menu. But yeah, Lucci on pole position with a 14.9. But fairly close times all the way down the grid, which is great to see. Obviously, other than Fuzzwad, who's quite a way off. How is Scott now 11th? Huh? What happened? Okay, I'm not quite sure what happened there. Because it said he had no time on the board, and now it's saying he has a 16.3 after he retired. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. But it's same with Luke's as well. He's P6 now as well. It says they didn't set it on a tyre, so I'm assuming that's just a bug because I came into the session late. But regardless, it is Lucci from Cyprus. Oh wow, a Cypriot driver. That's something I haven't seen before. Always good to see new nationalities. But he's on pole position. With a 14.9, spelled wrong in P2 on the front row with a 15.2. Then Diego Sanchez and Breezy make up the second row. Jack Alaco in P5 with Lux P6. RS and Trugster the fourth row. The championship leader Ace is all the way down on the fifth row in P9. And then Tebow, Scott, Tier, Patrick, Bluey, Vans, Fuzzwad, and Zuba being disqualified. So he'll make up the back of the grid. I assume formation lap is off because it's still screwed. EA said they fixed it. They did nothing of the sort. Yep, here we go. No formation lap 4, 5 red lights. And we're underway for the Imola Grand Prix. It's a great start from Lucci at the front. Gets ahead of Spaled Wong. There's position changes further back. A lot of contact as they go down the straight. And further back, Diego Sanchez squeezed off by Spaled Wong. Everyone getting through turn 1 cleanly so far, though. Jack Alaco's up to P4. Ace is up to P8 as well as Diego Sanchez under pressure from the Scotsman of Jack Alaco, who goes into the gravel though, and is going to be under pressure from RS, who gets past Lux, who does exactly the same thing as Jack Alaco, but Jacko gets away with it and Lux does not. I'm probably completely butchering Lux's name, but that's what I'm going to go with. But everyone filing through. It looks like everyone's been fairly clean so far. Zuba's gone up a position from last place as well. But there's a spinner, that is Luke's in the Aston Martin at Aqua Minerale. He's spun round and he's going to go all the way to the back. Tebow getting passed by Aces, the championship leader, on the up as well. After qualifying poorly down the grid, he's up to P6. As Spaled Wong and Diego Sanchez swap positions now. The Alfa Romeo up to P2 and looking to challenge Lucci and Spaled Wong and Jack Alaco. These two major championship protagonists. One of the three in the three-horse, two of the three in the three-horse race. And everyone coming it down the straight towards turn 1. There's a lot of slipstream on this circuit. It's incredibly powerful on that straight down towards turn 1 as Jack Alaco gets past Spaled. There must have been a mistake from the Red Bull driver, and the Scotsman's up to P3. Fantastic start for him, despite that trip to the gravel on lap 1. And Spaled Wong down to P4. Let's have a quick look at what tyres everyone's on. So mediums for Jacko, Diego Sanchez and others. Hards for a few others too. Zuba and Vans with a bit of a battle further back through the hairpin. Zuba getting through up to P12 from last place he started. So great first couple of laps from Zuba in the AlphaTauri. And we've got Trugster and Bluey side by side as well. Vans going very deep just ahead of them. But Bluey taking the position from Trugster. Luke's with the first 3-second time penalty already. Somehow he recovered to P11 after the spin. They're not going to recover to P11 after that. Tebow and Breezy coming together. I think there was a reset to track from the Ferrari, so the stewards are going to have a long look at that. I believe that's disqualification in the ESRL actually. I'm not quite sure though. So I'm sure they'll be looking at that one. But Lucci and Diego Sanchez going wheel to wheel now, and the Alfa Romeo is through up to P1. Lucci starting on the hard tyres, so Diego will have the better tyres at this point in the race, but still great stuff from Diego Sanchez there, who's up 2 positions from the start. Jackalacco as well up 2, Patrick up 6, Zuba up 5. Great starts for both of them, and down 7 for Breezy and Trugster, down 5 for Tier. Terrible start for him, down 4 for Lux as well after his spin. So a bit of a chaotic first few laps here in Zandvoort. Zandvoort here in Imola. Just did a race in Zandvoort, so as looks like he's gone for another spin at the hairpin this time, and it's gone from bad to worse for the Aston Martin driver as Patrick gets the second 3-second time penalty, and that's why he's gone very wide at Aqua Minerale and lost the position to Scott, who's up to P7 in the McLaren. And the McLarens, after a lackluster qualifying, have recovered expertly to P6 and 7. That's why they're the Constructors' Championship leaders at the moment. Meanwhile, Williams, they've got Jacko in P3, but Tier all the way down in 15th after his terrible start. Red Bull, they've got Speldwong in 4th, but Thibaut down in 9th after his collision, as Lucci and Diego Sanchez swap positions once more. The DRS very strong around here. Breezy with the fastest lap, but a mistake there from Diego Sanchez through turn 1, very deep, and compromised himself for turn 2, and this is going to invite the Scotsman of Jackalacco to have a go at some point. Luke's with a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane as well. Surely we'll see a retirement early on from the Aston Martin. Doesn't look like it. He's carrying on. Usually when you see that, it's a surefire that they're about to retire, but Jackalacco's not about to retire. There he goes. There's the retirement from Luke's, but Jackalacco nearly tries to go around the outside of Aqua Minerale. That would have been very brave, and now he's going to go for the inside at the following chicane. They're side by side through. Jackalacco on the outside on the exit. Diego Sanchez gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits, trying to just use all the track that he can. They're still side by side as they head down towards the last couple of corners of the lap, but Diego on the inside, he keeps the place for now, but Jackalacco needs to make this work, because now Speldwong has been able to catch up a huge amount. Jackalacco will have the DRS. He'll surely be able to make this pass now. Wait, he doesn't have the DRS. Diego got it. So Jacko has to sit behind, and he's going to be kicking himself for that one. But Diego Sanchez continues to stay in P2, but Jacko is going to be down the inside for, I believe this is Villeneuve. He's going to go for it. They're side by side. He's been forced onto the gravel, has the Scotsman, and he's down to P5. He's going to be livid with the Alfa Romeo there. Diego Sanchez left him absolutely nothing, and the Alfa Romeo is clearly struggling for traction as RS now down the inside of Speldwong, taking full advantage, is the Jamaican driver. A bit wide on the exit, but he's made the move, and RS up to P3, so he's going to be challenging Diego next up. But Speld and Jacko right with each other, and Ace is not too far behind as well, the 1.5 seconds. So the top 3 in the championship are in consecutive positions right now, which is fantastic to see. We've got yellow flags, we've got a safety car, we've got an Alfa Romeo round at the exit of Aqua Minerale. I think that's bluey, and that means a full course safety car at this point in the race. No one's going to stop out of the top 5, out of the top 6 even, and Aces is now within DRS range. So look at this, we've got the championship leader in P6, the guy in P2 in P4, and the guy who's 3rd in the championship in P5. This is fantastic stuff. You love to see it. But we do have an early safety car in this race. Lucci's strong lead of, I think it was about 5 seconds, diminished. But he seems much more on the ball than Diego Sanchez at this point in the race. The Alfa Romeo looks very squirrely through a lot of corners under green flag conditions. A lot of drivers near the back taking advantage. Into the pits they go. Lux has left the session. A terrible day for him, really. But But yes, it's a very good day at the office for McLaren and indeed for Red Bull at the moment. The Red Bulls would be gaining a few points on the McLarens as it stands in the championship fight. But McLaren would hold the lead as it stands, as Williams would drop further back thanks to Thier being all the way down in P14. But despite that setback with Diego Sanchez showing him the gravel, Jack Alaco still in P5, still looking very quick, I've got to say, in that Williams. He's improved a heck of a lot since he dabbled into the world of no racing line. And I have to say, he is getting better and better. So it's no wonder he's up there fighting for a title in Division 2 at the moment in ESRL. He's doing a great job, and such a consistent driver as well. Incidents happen left, right and centre, but Jacko never usually in them. Usually just stays out of everything and races to a very decent position. So that's what he's been doing so far, and it's paid dividends clearly in this Division 2 championship so far. Obviously we're only on round number 4 of 12, but it's still a very good start for him. Let's do a bit of a helmet review, why not, while the safety car's out. It's always tough to see with the Aston Martin cars. The T-cam's in a terrible position to view the helmet, sadly, but I believe that's a default helmet, so that's 0 out of 10. Diego Sanchez, can't quite tell, let's have a look. Oh, that's quite nice, that's quite a nice design. I'll go for a 7.5 for that one, that's pretty nice. About RS, he's gone with I believe those are Jamaican colours, so very nice theming. Go for a 7.5 as well there. Spelled wrong. I did have a look at this while he was qualifying. Look at the shine on the helmet, on the main part of the helmet is very nice. I think I'll give that a 9 actually. Very nice design from Spelled Wrong. Jack Alaco with an orange and black design. It's decent enough. Give that a 7, but our helmet reviewing has got to stop here because the safety car is in this lap, and Lucci is going to decide when to punch it on lap 7 of 32, heading on to lap 8. Looks like Lucci's gone, but he has not caught Diego Sanchez unawares. No, he's still waiting, Lucci, actually. And now he's punched it, but Diego Sanchez still right with the Aston Martin. They're not going to have DRS, of course, for another couple of laps, but Diego Sanchez, look at the slipstream that he's got round the outside for turn 1. Goes the Alfa Romeo. Can he make the move? No, he can't. Lucci squeezes him out. Very good racing from the two of them, but Lucci takes the lead. Or keeps the lead. Ace versus King's got past Jack Alaco further back in the meantime, so the championship leader still on the up, and now Jacko flanked by the two McLarens as Zuba's progress from the back of the grid is all undone. He's all the way back down to 16th after going round in sector 1. That's such a shame for him. But Jacko's quest now is to stick with the drivers ahead of him. He does not want to lose sight of his championship rivals at this point in the race, as Thier gets a 3-second time penalty. That's par for the course with Thier usually. Although he has been getting better with those recently, but obviously today still struggling. Is Spelled Wrong here, gets the run on RS. He's going to be down the inside for the penultimate corner, still side by side. Spelled breaks late and leaves RS enough space, but gets the overtake done. Very nice from Spelled. He's up to P3, and the American is going to be looking to say goodbye to his championship rivals at this early stage in the race after an advantageous safety car for him, as Aces looks to get past RS, but he struggles, and Jack Alacco is sent on the grass and into the gravel. He's going to be getting a penalty for that, surely, from the game. He gets away with it. That's incredible. But he did lose a position, but usually the game gives a penalty for that. Anyway, as Scott into the gravel, Spale gets a time penalty further up, and Jacko takes full advantage of the McLaren making that mistake, and Ace has made a mistake as well. The championship leader nearly round, has a half spin and loses 3 positions. He's down to P8, and all Jacko's Christmases have come at once as Spaled Ron gets past Diego Sanchez for P2 in the Red Bull, and now looks to chase after Lucci, who's leading this race by some margin already. But Spaled with that 3-second time penalty hanging over his head now, and Jack Alacco back up to P5, no penalty to his name as of yet, and he's going to be looking to get past RS as soon as possible so that he can go chasing after his main championship rival, as the leader all the way down to P8 as it's at the moment. After that half spin, as Zuber has gone round in sector 3 at the chicane, gets going again before he causes a safety car, thankfully. But we've got Breezy trying to go down the inside of the championship leader into turn 1. He can't quite manage it, as who's that? It's Scott. Scott's round in the McLaren. That's such a shame for him. Is there a front wing? Yes, there is. So no damage to the McLaren, but well, in terms of pride, there certainly is damage. And talking of damage, Diego Sanchez down to P6. It must have been a big mistake for the Alfa Romeo driver. Aces and Breezy fighting as well down towards this next part of the track. Very deftly done from Aces to keep that place down towards Aqua Minerale. Surely won't be any moves into here, as Thibaut has to defend from Tier, who's up into the top 10 now for Williams. So good stuff from him. And Aces still has to defend. We've got Diego Sanchez getting a time penalty, completely missed the chicane, had to go all the way over. It's not been a good race so far for Diego, just seems to really be struggling on these medium tyres as he drifts through the penultimate corner, just to prove my point, and the final corner as well. There's a bit of lag, so it's difficult to tell, but he certainly looks squirrely out of there, as Aces now with Breezy right behind him, but he's catching up to Diego on this straight. We've got Bluey round again, but Aces can't quite get close enough to make a move. Zuba's round again as well at the back. Oh, what a shame for him after such a good first couple laps. But Aces just about hanging on to P7 at the moment, nearly going into the gravel on the exit of Villeneuve, but managing to hold it together. As Breezy's under pressure from Thibaut as well. Tier there in the Williams too, trying to profit off anything going wrong. We've got Breezy again looking to the inside of Aces, but backs out as a big moment for the McLaren driver on the exit. Manages to hold on to it, and Breezy has to slow down to avoid going into the back of him, but everyone having moments all over the track here. Jack Alacco now with a 3-second time penalty, so he's now compromised as well. But he'll still be happy to be where he is. He's in a comfortable P3 at the moment and pulling away from RS the last time I checked. So he should be able to extend that 3-second gap in theory, but he's got to keep it on the track and keep consistent. In order to do that, Spelled Wrong catching up to Lucci very gradually, although I'm not sure about that, as Breezy now gets past Aces down the straight towards turn 1. Very easily done for the Ferrari. There was no DRS on the McLaren, so Breezy up to P7, and the championship leader's race going from bad to worse as he's dropping positions left, right and centre. Tier meanwhile up to P9 as a bit of contact between him and the Red Bull, and the Alpine behind hits the Red Bull as he's caught unawares by the slow line that he took through there. But Tier up to P9 in the Williams, doing a great job at the moment to recover. Ace is under pressure as well, as Diego Sanchez still putting Patrick under pressure. Patrick now with a time penalty as well. I don't know if that's his second one or still the first one, but Diego looking to the inside, doesn't quite make the move. Zuba's round again in Sector 1, and I think we might see him go for an early retirement as well into the pits before too long. Spaled is losing time to Lucci, by the way, as there's a bit of a drift from Diego Sanchez again through the penultimate corner, and he's going to be under huge pressure from Breezy. Look how close the Ferrari is to the back of the Alfa Romeo. They've both got DRS, but Breezy will have the slipstream, but he pulls out of the slipstream and doesn't use any ERS to get past. Diego's losing a huge amount of ERS, gets straight past Patrick easily before turn 1, and that's... well, it almost looked like Patrick let him through there. That was very odd. I'm not sure if he had quite that much overspeed, but maybe he did, as Patrick goes very deep and lets Breezy through as well. Ace is looking for a way through, but can't find the outside line to get past the Mercedes, as Breezy putting Diego Sanchez under pressure now, and Tier putting Aces under pressure. The championship leaders going backwards all the time, but Tier backs out just before the corner. Diego with another slide through that particular left-hander, and with another time penalty as well on that Alfa Romeo. He's got 6 seconds as Tier looks to the inside of Aces and makes the move before the chicane, and Aces could be under pressure from Trugster as well as they go through. Nearly a bit of contact. I think there was contact actually. Trugster lost a lot of time there, and in fact lost out to Thibaut again, so he's down to P11. Aces down to P9. He's still going backwards in this race. Patrick now under pressure from Tier, who goes around the outside. Tier flying at the moment. Up to P7 he goes. Patrick really struggling on those 12-lap-old medium tyres, and Aces gets past for P8. The championship leader just surviving at the moment. I think that's all that's on his mind. Just keep in the race. Jack Alaco in the meantime has extended his gap to 4 seconds to RS, so as it stands he would finish in P3. We're only 14 laps into this 32-lap race. So barely a third of the way through this one, as there's another mistake from Patrick. Really seems to be struggling on those tyres now, as Thibaut looks to find a way past in the Red Bull as well. The Mercedes has been going backwards very quickly these last few laps, and again defends to the inside. Ace is very squirrely on the exit, nearly 3 wide through there. Lucci in the lead now gets a time penalty. Tier gets another one. He's up to 6. There's time penalties going on all over the place. There's people losing it all over the place. Trugster's into the wall, and somehow he's still got all of his front wing. I'm not quite sure how that's happened, but we don't have a safety car, thankfully, as Thibaut gets past Patrick for P9, but the Mercedes isn't done. A bit of lag creates a bit of contact between the two, but Patrick down the inside and gets ahead even before the penultimate corner. So back up to P9 he goes, but the Red Bull's going to have the DRS down towards turn 1. You would think... Where's the section point? I don't think either of them got it. No, they didn't. So Bluey's right behind, and Breezy getting past RS down the inside for P5. Great move from the Ferrari. And Diego Sanchez got through as well at some point. Not sure when that happened. RS has gone backwards now. Those mediums seem to be really on their last legs at the moment. Diego Sanchez with those time penalties. Breezy trying to get past because he wants a podium here. He'll be able to see that Jacko has a time penalty and he doesn't. So Breezy will really want to get past this Alfa Romeo, who's slowing him down quite a lot at this stage of the race. Thibaut's gotten back past Patrick in the meantime. It's all happening. Who says you can't overtake it, Imola? Goodness me. RS with another time penalty on the AlphaTauri in the meantime, as Breezy continues to try and get the jump on Diego, but Diego going very wide at the exit of the chicane gets an artificially good exit as a result, and Breezy going to have to get a good exit out this last corner and use the overtake to get past. There's contact though, as Diego slower than he thought. Diego into the pits in fact, and now Breezy can stretch his legs, but he's 5 seconds behind Jack Alaco, and he's got to cut that down by another 2 seconds. in order to get this podium. Surely Jacko will be into the pits soon as well, because those mediums are going to be struggling at this point. We're about halfway through. Spale Long gets another time penalty, though. That's 6 seconds on the Red Bull. We've got that's Bluey round in Sector 1. Fuzzwad up to P11. Zuba's been lapped already in the AlphaTauri, so not ideal for him either. We've got Patrick into the pits, or just coming out the pits in the Mercedes. And it is all happening. Tier up to P6 after the pit stops. Ace is up to P7. He's still just about surviving in this one. I think it's damage control mode for the championship leader here as he goes down the inside of Tier. As I say that, though, into the chicane. Lovely move from Aces. He's back up to P6 now and still has no time penalty on that McLaren. And how crucial could that be if it stays that way? Lucci into the pits in the meantime. Spelled Wrong stays out. Jackalacco in as well for a set of hard tyres to the end of the race. Breezy stays out on his fresh hards. I wonder if those who pitted on the first safety car for hards, it's Breezy and Tier, and also Bluey and Fuzzwad, I wonder if they're going to try and go all the way to the end on those tyres. It's possible. I've done it before. I pitted early safety car, pitted for hards in Imola, tried to go all the way to the end. I don't think it's the best strategy. I think it's slower, but they'll be hoping that track position is going to be king. And if there's another safety car in the next few laps, they are well in business here. But it's Spelled Wrong who leads by 9.5 seconds at the moment. Jackalacco exits the pits in clean air. He'll be very glad to see that. Fresh hards, 7.5 seconds to the car in front. And 1.5 seconds to Scott behind. So Jacko got plenty of room here to stretch his legs a bit, get used to the hard tyres, and try and get some good lap times in to undercut those he was racing with. Zuba getting lapped further back by the Alfa Romeo of Bluey, who actually cuts back and doesn't lap Zuba for some reason. Maybe a mistake from Bluey. But the former race leader, Lucci, still the net race leader, I believe, as it stands. He's P7, and he's got Vans racing 1.5 seconds up the road, who I'm sure he'll catch very quickly. Zuba setting the fastest lap on soft tyres, so unsurprising. But Lucci now just trying to cut down that gap, trying to make the use of these mediums, which will now be warmed up. He just gained 0.5 second through the first few corners. Diego Sanchez getting past Scott further back for P10. And Jackalacco still just playing the long game, just trying to not get another penalty, crucially. But also be fast enough that he can make use of those tyres, because Spelled Wrong still yet to pit. We've got Lucci round the outside of Vans into Aqua Minerale. There's contact as Vans goes into the side of the Aston Martin. Vans loses a lot of time. Lucci somehow manages to get away with that. I have no idea how, but Lucci up to P6. Spelled Wrong's into the pits finally for a set of the medium tyres to the end. Breezy stays out, so he'll lead the Grand Prix. But Spelled Wrong coming out the pits now. Where's Lucci? He's coming around the final corner. It's a very, very long pit lane in Imola, so Lucci will be comfortably ahead of Spelled here. There goes the Aston Martin past the pit lane, and Spelled is going to be behind Vans here as well. Yeah, there goes the Haas. So Spelled just down in P6, so he's got to traverse this Haas in front of him as well. And Jackalacco's only 3.6 seconds behind him. So Jacko on the charge here, but of course Spelled is on the medium tyres, and he looks to the inside of Vans at Villeneuve, but can't make the move. Vans proving a bit of a roadblock for these leading cars that have pitted already. As Spelled tries to find a way through Vans, he can't quite do it at this point on the track. Vans very slow on the exit, gets a time penalty, Spaled round the outside, doing the same thing that that Lucci did earlier, but this time no contact between the two, and Spaled up to P5. Giacalacco gets past Bluey, who is round Acqua Minerale, in fact. So Jacko easily up to P7. He's got Vans in front of him as well, so he's going to have to get past this stricken Haas as soon as he can too. 12.5 laps to go in this race as Lucci gets past Tier, because Tier's into the pits, but he gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that's going to be a knockout blow, I think, for his chances of getting points today. Zuber though into the pits and retires from the race. There it is. He'd already been lapped, so I think it was only a matter of time. Scott up to P9 as a result, still has not pitted in that McLaren. But Spaled wrong, looking to chase after Lucci. Let's have a look at the penalty situation. So it's 6 for Spaled wrong, 3 for Lucci, Vans and Jacko and Bluey as well. RS on 3-2, 6 seconds for Spaled wrong, and Trugster 9 seconds for Diego Sanchez and 12 for Patrick. We've got Lucci getting past Aces, who I think made a big mistake in Acqua Minerale, and championship leader still has not pitted. I do like the look of that McLaren in this light. It's looks very menacing, I have to say. Just the reflections on the front nose as Aces goes for a big slide at the penultimate corner, and I think we might see him peel into the pits here. There he goes. It's going to be medium tyres for him to the end. Maybe it'll be softs, who knows. But Lucci just 6.2 seconds behind Breezy, who is still leading this race. I think he's going to try and go to the end on those hards. And, well, to be honest, there's a long way to go. I think Lucci does have the pace, but with the time penalties, Breezy still doesn't have one, so he's doing very well at the moment and giving himself a chance to win this race. If there's a late safety... well, there we go. I just cursed him. I'm so sorry. Just said Breezy, he's got a great chance to win this race. He's got no time penalty. If there's a late safety car, he's in. Immediately gets a time penalty. Thanks for that, Breezy. But Aces is pretty much the only one in the fighting pack who's not got a time penalty, so he's kept it clean. It could yet pay dividends for him, but still he's down in P10 with a lot of catching up to do. His main rivals in 3rd and 4th, so not ideal for Aces, not ideal for McLaren in general actually, because Scott's down in P14. There's contact between Bluey and RS further up as RS loses a bit of traction on the exit. That's the AlphaTauri up to P6. But yeah, it's not a good day at the office for McLaren. They're running P10 and 14, so only 1 point they get as it stands. Obviously, Aces will gain a couple of positions due to penalties, but still not a good day for McLaren at all. The Constructors' Championship leaders will need a lot more than that, especially with Williams currently scoring double points and Jacko up in P4, Spaled up in P3. It's been a terrible day for Thibaut, his teammate, unfortunately. So Red Bull not getting the points that they could otherwise get, but still Spaled in P3. That's a big haul for the Red Bull pair. As Tier tried to make a move on Patrick into turn 1, didn't quite work, and he's going to be under pressure from Aces perhaps as they all file through the second sector now. Tier trying to find a way past this Mercedes. It's a long way up to Bluey up ahead, but Bluey's going to be very slow because he's got 16 lap old hard tyres. Diego with another time penalty. I think he's up to 9 now, or maybe even 12. He's in P5. Aces with a bit of mistake out of Acqua Minerale. Tier trying to stay on the track as well, but desperately wanting to get past this Mercedes so he can chase after Bluey because he knows he's got a lot of time penalties on that car. Here comes Tier. He's going to look to the inside of Patrick. He knows he's going to get the DRS though, so he backs out before the penultimate corner as Diego Sanchez gets past Giacalacco for P4 in the meantime. But we've got to cut back because Tier, I think, is going to have the run on this Mercedes. Down towards turn 1, surely with the DRS, he will have enough overspeed to make this move. Flashing red light as well on the back of Patrick's car, shows he's out of ERS, and Tier up to P8 as Jacko gets back past Diego because there's a spin for the Alfa Romeo driver, and he recovers, but down to P5 and lost a lot of time, about 7 seconds there. And with the penalties he's got 12 seconds of penalties, so that is not going to help him at all. As Lucci getting past Breezy for the lead of the race. In the meantime, there's a lapped car in the way, unfortunately, which might have distracted Breezy a little, but Breezy will have the DRS down towards turn 1. Is he going to fight this and try and cost Lucci as much time as possible? No, because Lucci's got the DRS, so Breezy going to have to settle for P2 and try and stick with him, because Lucci did get himself another time penalty. He's up to 6 seconds now, but Breezy is going to be... Well, it would be an absolutely incredible drive if he can stay within 3 seconds of that Aston Martin, given he's on 18-lap-old hard tyres. I really can't see it happening, but who knows. Spelled wrong in P3. He's trying to catch up as well. He's only 4.5 seconds down the road from Breezy. He's got 6 seconds of time penalties as well, though, and Jack Alaco just sitting pretty in P4 at the moment. No problems for him, but there's problems for Diego Sanchez. He's retired on track as well. Could that cause an impromptu safety car? I really hope not, but Tier, by the way, made a big mistake just behind him and lost a lot of time. He's down to P9, but he was right with Aces and Patrick not that long ago, and now he's 5.5 seconds behind, and he saw him going through the gravel, so I'm not sure what happened to him. But Aces up to P7 now as a result, and will be P6 after penalties. Jacko with another time penalty, so he's up to 6 seconds now, but he's 12.5 ahead of RS, so no danger for the Williams driver, and it's still going to be a decent points haul for him as it stands. 25 of 32. It's not too late for a safety car. There still could be late drama in this one, as Scott gets a penalty further back. Ace is now the only car on the whole grid to not have a track limits penalty. I think that is worth a round of applause in itself. I mean, that's why he's the championship leader. He may not be the fastest driver on the grid, but he's certainly consistent and keeps it together at the crucial moments. And at tricky times like these, when everyone else is getting track limits penalties, Ace is keeping it clean, and it could pay dividends for him. Let's have a look at penalties. RS on 3 seconds, so Aces is going to have to catch up to him in order to get P5. But what a result that would be, given it was looking like he might not even get any points today. He could manage to get himself in P5 and salvage a decent number, and it would mean that our 3 championship protagonists would finish 3rd, 4th and 5th, which would be quite poetic in such a chaotic race. Bluey pretty much letting Aces through there. He knows it's not really his race. Bluey just wanting to finish this one in a decent points-paying position. At the moment, he's going to do exactly that, but still, 19-lap-old hard tyres. It's not going to be easy as Spaled Wong gets past Breezy for P2. Tebow's retired in the pit lane, so that's not going to cause a safety car, but Spaled now, he's going to be charging to try and open up that 3-second gap. Another 3 points for him would be critical at this stage. Breezy with a mistake as well into the gravel. That's not going to help his case, but it is going to help Spaled Wrong. Let's go to penalties again. 6 seconds for Spaled, 6 seconds for Lucci. Spaled will be wishing he didn't get that second penalty, because he might have had a chance to win this one, but as it stands, I think Lucci will have this. But you never know. 6.5 laps to go. Breezy with 3 seconds, Jack Lacka with 6. So I think only a big error from any of the drivers ahead will promote Jack Alaco any further in this one, or a late safety car. But I don't think a late safety car would help him, because he's got 6 seconds of penalties compared to those around him. Breezy, though, he's already out of the 3-second range of Spaled Wrong. There we go, 3.0. So Spaled really kicking it up a gear at this late stage to secure that second place finish and those crucial extra points. It'll be 18 points for the Red Bull driver, and I think he'll take the championship lead with that. I'm not quite certain. I don't know. I can't remember exactly how many points everyone's on, but it's very good showing for Spelled Wrong. Jackalacco not done too badly either. He's sitting in P4, but Aces, what a recovery he's on, and it still could be P5 for him. 4.8 seconds to RS. He's got to catch 1.8 seconds in the next 5.5 laps in order to snatch away that P5. And, well, he's doing a very good job at the moment. We've got Scott getting past Vans for P10 further back, but Vans would get the points. Would get the point as it stands due to Scott's 8 seconds of penalties. Truckster sending the fastest lap at the back. But Aces, this is the sort of battle to watch, as it were, because Aces is reeling in RS. He just needs another 1.3 seconds in the next 4.5 laps. And he will take that valuable 5th place finish. But Spelled Wrong, the standout performer of those top 3 in the championship today. It was not a great start for him, it has to be said. He was under pressure in those first few laps, got passed by Jackalacco, but then Jacko got forced into the gravel by Diego Sanchez at that critical point, and that let Spelled Wrong through and allowed the Red Bull to stretch his legs, and Jacko couldn't keep up for the rest of the race. So a bit unlucky for the Scotsman, but Spelled taking full advantage, and the American looking to gain a real handhold on this championship at this early stage. Aces now 3.3 seconds behind RS. It looks like he is going to secure that P5 unless there comes a mistake from the British driver. But he's doing very well at the moment. 3.0. Is it going to go under 3 seconds through Aqua Minerale? Yes, it is. 2.9 to RS. And I think the AlphaTauri driver from Jamaica is going to get demoted to P6 here as a result of that penalty, although the gap's gone back up again. A bit of a poor line from Aces through the chicane. Wonder if he can gain it back through the last couple of corners of the lap. In fact, no, he's lost some time, but there we go. There's the gain. Must have been a mistake from RS ahead on the last corner, and Aces 2.1 seconds behind, and that should be game over for 5th place in this race. Jacko with another time penalty. He's up to 9 seconds now. It's not going to matter still. He's got a 17-second gap to RS just behind him, but yeah, he's got to be a little bit careful as the Scotsman. And as you can see, taking a very inside line through that corner, just taking it as carefully as possible, doesn't need to take any risks. He knows that the only thing that would promote him any positions is a mistake from those ahead. And the only thing that's going to demote him any positions is if he bins it. So as long as he stays on the track, he should manage to secure this 4th place finish, which I think he'll be very happy with in the Williams. Ace is now catching up to RS. Spelled Wrong has been reeling in Lucci, by the way, as well. 1.8 seconds is the gap. They're both on 6 seconds of penalties. There's only 3 laps to go, but I wonder if Spelled Wrong can get within DRS range before the final lap. If he can, that would be a huge result for him. And there's a big mistake from Lucci, it seems, through Villeneuve. And Spelled Wrong is now in DRS range. Can he pull this off with a couple of laps to go? This race has suddenly come alive in the last few laps. But Spelled Wrong's got no ERS left. Lucci hasn't got any left either, though. And Spelled got a huge chance to win this race, and 25 points would be absolutely massive at this point in the championship battle. They were so close together, but Spelled could get a huge advantage here if he can win this race on the other two. Tier with another time penalty further back. He's up to 14 seconds now, and he's going to drop out of the points as a result. Bluey looks like he's going to finish in the points, so very nicely done from the Alfa Romeo, I believe, reserve driver. I don't know if he has a permanent seat in Div 2, but here comes Spaled now with the DRS. We get a terrible camera angle, but here we go, round the outside goes the Red Bull. Lucci can't defend it, and Spaled takes the lead on lap 31 of 32. What an ending we are in prospect for here. Can Lucci hold, stick with the Red Bull and try and gain this place back? At the end of this one, Spaled has 2 laps younger tyres, and that is really working in his favour here as Lucci tries to keep the traction in. Aces is right behind RS as well, but the time penalties obviously make that redundant, and he does make the pass, so Aces up to P5, a well-deserved recovery from him, but Spaled wrong, oh no, gets the 3-second time penalty on the penultimate lap when he's leading the race. He's going to be absolutely fuming with himself in that cockpit. He's just thrown away a possible win. That's 7 points down the drain, and now Lucci, all he has to do is stick with the Red Bull and he will win this race regardless. He doesn't need to overtake now, but he's a racer. He's going to want to anyway, and you never know whether drivers can get their penalties removed by stewards after a race, so you've always got to go for it. Neither of them with any DRS left. Lucci with the DRS. Can he make the move on Spaled? Looks to the inside, but backs out of it just before the braking zone. And Spaled wrong continues to lead, but he's got that extra time penalty that he got on the penultimate lap. Lucci practically pushes him through Villeneuve as they file through down towards the hairpin now. Spaled wrong still leads this one on track. But in the end, it's going to be Lucci who takes it unless there's some drama on the last lap here. Spaled wrong just trying his absolute best to try and build a gap, but he can't do it. Lucci sticking with him. Lucci has just got to avoid going off the track. He's just got to stay within the white lines and he will win this race. Through the final, the chicane they come down towards the final 2 corners. Lucci perilously close to going outside of track limits there, but keeps it within the white lines just about. Lucci down towards the final few corners, nearly hits the back of Spaled, but Spaled wrong. The American comes round the final corner. He will win the race on track, but it is Lucci on penalties who wins the Imola Grand Prix. Spaled will be furious at himself for throwing that one away. But it is Lucci who wins. Breezy comes around the final corner in the Ferrari. He'll finish in a very well-deserved P3. Very nicely done from him. How many laps was that on those tyres? 27 laps on the hards. What a performance for him. And Bluey will do the same. So fair enough to both of them. Jackalacco finishes in P4. He'll be happy with that in the end, I think. Aces, I think, deserves an award for being the only driver on the whole grid not to get a track limits penalty. But he will finish in 5th place in the end. RS in 6th. But the championship leader, I don't know if he'll still be the championship leader after this race, but it's a very good recovery after it looked like he may be stuck all the way down in 10th this race. He's recovered to P5, so nicely done from him. RS finishes a very well-deserved P6. Scott P7 for McLaren as well. Huge result for them. Bluey finishes in P8. He'll be happy with that. And there was the other Mercedes in P9, and I think Vans got the final point in P10 after penalties. So McLaren just keeping it consistent, and I think that's why they're leading this championship, because just the consistency when the other teams have either one driver in the points or just falter in general. But it is the Cypriot who takes pole position and wins the race, but it was far from being that simple, and Spaled wrong will be very angry at himself because he threw that one away when it looked like it was his. But podium celebrations get underway. It is Lucci who wins the Imola Grand Prix in ESRL Division 2. Spaled wrong takes P2, but it really should have been the win. Breezy finishes in 3rd. He'll be very happy with that one. A great drive from the Ferrari. Jack Alaco, I think, will be happy with fourth as well. That's probably the best he could have done today, although he will be a little bit annoyed at how Diego shoved him off in the early part of the race. Aces finishes in fifth place for McLaren. Very nice recovery from him, and like I said, the only one to not get a track limits penalty. RS finishes P6, Scott in P7, Bluey finishes P8, Patrick P9, Vans gets the final point for Haas, and Tier just outside the points for Williams. Trugster, Fuzzwald, and Fuzzwald the last of the finishers, with Thibaut, Diego Sanchez, Zuber, and the last one, who I can't remember, all unfortunately not being able to finish the race. Driver of the day, or who do we go with? I think we go with Breezy, to be honest. I know Bluey did 27 laps in the hards as well, so absolutely fair enough to both of them. But Breezy, bold strategy, stayed on the hards all the way to the end, and got himself a podium. Fantastic drive from the Ferrari. So I think he's my driver of the day today. But a lot of drivers with exceptional performances. But anyway, I believe this will likely be my final foray, my first and final foray into ESRL Division 2, because Division 1 will be back next week. But it's been an enjoyable time, and thank you for the drivers for putting on a good show. And hope you enjoy my last-minute stand-in comms. But thank you all ever so much for watching. Make sure you like the stream and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Spale's absolutely gutted in the chat. I knew he would be. He's thrown it away. That's 7 points down the drain, and I have to wonder how important that could be for the defending champion as we head towards the end of the season later on this year. But will he look back on that time penalty and think that's where he lost the championship? Who knows? I don't know if it will be that close in the end, but we'll see. But regardless, thank you all so much for watching. I've been Ghost. I'll be back for Division 1 in ESRL next week. But it's been nice to see Division 2 for a change. So have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.